little different than we're used to, but for those of us who've been working from home for a month or so, we're all kind of getting used to these online and virtual meetings. So thanks for sticking with us. Thanks for joining us, and um, we'll do our best to get through this. I appreciate everybody working with us in an unconventional manner. We had what to me is one of my favorite meetings each year, where we all kind of get together and assign funds to new projects. This year, we had all of the biologists sit down at their computers and record a little 3 or 4 minute video, and some of them did very well, and some of them decided to make rhymes out of them. And we won't mention any names, but Jim Lamb, you're always one of our favorites. Anyways, for getting in there, watching those videos and assigning your funding. And honestly, this morning, a lot of us are pleasantly surprised at the funding level that we've achieved so far. So today's meeting, if you've attended some of the past meetings, today will resemble the final hour or so of those meetings, where we kind of go over what we've assigned and make some small moves, ask some questions, and finalize the funding for this next year. So with that, a few housekeeping items for those of you who haven't done a lot of these conferences yet. We will be having a YouTube stream. So this is being streamed live on YouTube. I don't think it's going up on the public page, but it will be available for those who have the link. So keep it clean. Don't say anything that you wouldn't want the public to hear. And that goes for the comment section as well. That'll also be available for people to see on that stream. And then secondly, when you're not talking, please mute your mic. We'll get a little bit of reverb from time to time. And don't be offended if one of the admin team mutes your mic for you. For those of you that are on cell phones and you'd like to talk, I think the way to unmute your cell phone, Allison, correct me if I'm wrong, is *6. Yes, I'm getting a nod from Allison. So with that, we will move forward. First on the agenda was just a general Q&A about the process. Comments, questions. Does anybody have anything that they would like to know or need to understand better about the process today? Or is there any additions to the agenda that you'd like to see? Don't forget to unmute yourself. All right. Let's go ahead and move forward then. So the first thing I think we want to do, Allison or Daniel, whoever's sharing their screen, you want to pull up the spreadsheet and share that with everyone. I think what we'll do first off today is pull up that spreadsheet, and Allison's gone through this morning and highlighted some of the line items that we need to visit. And essentially what has happened with some of the green highlighted projects is, because everybody went in and entered most of their funding yesterday, we had a few of those projects that were slightly overfunded. So we need to go through and hit each of those individual projects and either have some of you remove funding, or if you'd like, we can make some deals or make some agreements to have some of those funds split between different groups. So the first one, Boulder Unit Dark Valley Pond Maintenance Project. Looks like it's overfunded by $2,000. And we've got RMEF in for 2, SCI in for 5. Would you guys like to give up $1,000 each, maybe?
That would be fine for me at SCI. I'll go to 4,000.
Okay. I'll go to 1,000 RMEF.
All right, perfect, Ron. Thank you. Next on the list, 5367 South Monroe. Looks like it is overfunded by $5,000. And contributions on that from Army F for 2,000, 5,000 from SCI, SFW 4,800.
I'll go to 1,000 from Army F.
Okay.
I'll go down to 3,000 from Safari Club.
Okay. I'm taking that was SFW. That's going to be a problem. Is it Troy that's speaking for SFW today?
Yeah. Do you guys have other people in there on the phone, maybe, that we're getting feedback from?
Or more than one device open?
Right, is that better?
That's better. Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead and we'll just take, deduct the remaining that's left. So.
Okay. Perfect. Okay, next on the list, Booby Hole. Looks like it's over by 2,500. Contributions there from Army F for 2,700, SCI 2,500.
Safari Club will go down to 1,500.
Okay, 1,500 for Safari. Ron, you want to take the rest of the reduction?
How much is it, the rest of the reduction?
That's a good question. 1,500, is that right?
So that'll leave me 1,200 in, right?
Yes.
That's fine.
Okay, perfect. Daniel, let's move down to the next green one, Book Cliffs West Water Development. Everybody wanted to fund the Book Cliffs West, including Habitat Council yesterday. So MDF was in for 25,000, NWTF for 2, RMEF for 5, SCI 7,500, plus 2,500 in remaining funds, and SFW for 25,000. Any reductions on that?
How far over is it?
It's over by 11,576.65.
Why don't SSW and us just both split it, because we both have 25,000 in. Just split the overage.
I'm
Is that
fine.
okay with you, Troy?
Yep, I'm good with that.
Okay.
All right, we can do that. Thank you. Next down the list, Bear River Watershed Resilience Phase 1 is overfunded by 10,000. MDF had 127,325 in there, 10,000 from SCI. I'm assuming MDF can take a $10,000 cut.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Perfect. Thanks, Miles. Okay, that is the last of the green. Next, let's go look at the red ones, right, Allison?
Yeah, that's correct.
And remind me what the red ones were again.
The red ones are projects out in Hamlin Valley that have been postponed.
Okay, so a little explanation on these two red ones. As many of you may know, the BLM has been working in Hamlin Valley, and they've been working under some smaller EAs, and they are in the process of redoing one of their big environmental assessments. The last one that we were operating under got challenged in court by a few of our favorite environmental groups. They withdrew that current NEPA and decided to rewrite the NEPA. That NEPA it's about 3 or 4 weeks from being put out to the public, which is a couple months behind schedule, some of that due to COVID, some of that due to some other issues. But in discussions with the folks down in the Cedar City BLM office, it looks like even if everything goes right with that NEPA, we almost 100% expect to get challenged, and that'll send it through the BLM's IBLA process. And so we've decided to not try and implement in Hamlin Valley this year. So that takes those 2 projects in red, Arrowhead and Hamlin Valley Indian Peaks Bullhog, off of the list. So what we need to do is basically remove any funding that had been assigned to that. Any questions on that? So for Arrowhead, that takes 5,000 off from RMEF and 5,000 off from RMEF Banquet. And for Hamlin Valley Indian Peaks, we had 10,000 in from RMEF, 5,000 in there from SCI, 15,000 in there from SFW. And I just want everybody to know that is still a big priority for us in the BLM. We fully expect to continue with work down there as soon as we've got that EA in place. And if challenged, both the state of Utah and the BLM will appeal that challenge. So any other questions on Hamlin Valley? Okay. Next up, let's move to the yellow highlighted ones. And Allison, you want to explain what the yellow is?
Sure. So the yellow highlighted projects are projects that either, well, these first ones are the wildlife projects that need additional funding for the PR match. Most of you have put funding on those projects. We just need a little bit more for some of those. When we get down into the actual projects out in the field, we've got a few projects that were maybe not ranked as high, that some of you put funding on, that we either need to see if we can get some more funding for, so we can make sure we can get them funded, or move those funds to a different project.
Okay, so this is kind of the begging for more or deciding if we need to just punt on some of these projects phase, right?
Yes.
Okay, so first up, Sage Grouse Initiative Biologists, fiscal year 21. That needs an additional 14,000. Traditionally, we've had pretty good support for this program. Is Danny on the call by chance? Do you want to speak to that program at all?
Yeah, I'm right here. Yeah, this program funds, or we help fund a couple of biologists, one in out of Tree Mountain, one out of Vernal. Their primary job is to work with private landowners using NRCS funds to work on sage grouse projects, but that program has broadened a little bit. It's working lands for wildlife, so they're doing good things out there, and we've been supporting this for about 8 years, so, and we've had good support. It's been a good program.
And we're now looking to have those all fully staffed this year, right?
Yeah, they have been. One guy just moved on. We're in the process of hiring another person out in Vernal.
MDF will put in 5,000.
Thanks, Miles.
Safari Club will put in 3,000.
Thank you. Leaves us with about 6 in need. Any other interest in that one?
We'll pick it up.
Is that
Appreciate
Troy?
that.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
6,000 from SFW, thank you. Okay, next up is the migration initiative. And we've got a need there of 55,750. I'm not sure who's here from wildlife. I don't know if Daniel's on or
Kent's on.
Kent, do you want to go ahead, Kent?
Yeah, so what we're looking to do this year, a little bit of a change on what we've done with the initiative, but a lot of this is going to go to fund a new website through Google using the iCloud services they have. This will make it easier to view the data, get the data more accessible to our biologists, but also we want to try and set some stuff up so we can actually get this information out to the public and sportsmen and all your groups. So that'll be a big chunk of it. But then also we're going to be focusing on some captures, of course, with some continuing the boulder project we started last year, as well as some of the West Desert pronghorn. Big effort starting on with mule deer out in Box Elder County, also on some Morgan Southridge, 50 mule deer out there. And then the Chalk Creek effort we started 2 years ago, we'll continue that. And additional collars on the Wasatch East. So still trying to figure out our movement corridors in some of these areas we don't know much about, but then also switching over and just being able to handle the data that we're bringing in.
Great, thanks, Kent. So I'm assuming you guys absolutely need that extra 55,750 to match federal aid money?
Correct.
Okay, so we're asking for any additional funding for that the
We'll
groups
do
are willing.
another 25K.
Okay, another additional 25 from SFW.
MDF will do 25 out of Expo admin.
25 out of Expo admin for MDF.
Army F will pick up the balance.
The balance is 5750. Ron, you good with that?
Yep.
All right, excellent. Thank you.
Welcome to the game, Ron.
Hey, thanks, Miles.
Ron owns this game.
It's like Pong.
Okay, Kent, next up, fiscal year 21 mountain goat capture still needs 3250. Do you want to speak to that?
Jace, are you on? Okay, if not, I'll speak. Yeah, so
I'm here. I can speak to this
there
one.
you go.
Eagle Mountain for the next. That basically be. Oh, sorry. Do you got me now, Tyler?
Yep, I got you. Go ahead.
Okay. So yeah, the FY21 mountain goat captures are all of our captures for this next year. That basically be happening in the fall and winter of this coming fall and winter. So there are 4 projects there that we're hoping to get done. We want to catch mountain goats on the Willard, put some collars that'll hopefully help us better understand survival and what's going on there. The LaSalle Mountains, some collars will help us understand movements, habitat use, which is valuable information down on that mountain. The Beaver, the Tusher Mountains, and then also we're hoping to be able to catch mountain goats on the Beaver to be able to move up to the Cashew. So those are the 4 projects. It's 80 total mountain goats. They'd all be great projects. We're excited for them. We currently don't have any GPS collars on mountain goats in the state. We have in the past, but they've just died over time. So this would be a great way to get a lot more information and do a lot of good, we think, for mountain goats. So we're excited about it.
Great, thank you. So we need only an additional 3250.
We'll take it.
SFW will take it. Thank you.
Thanks, Troy.
All right, next up, fiscal year 21 deer fauna adult survival and condition needs 38,531. Kent, is that you?
Yeah, so this is these are the projects we've been doing since 2014. This is, we'll catch the adults and understand conditions, understand how animals are coming in to winter, but these are also the units where we get our fawn survival. We don't get those on the initiative projects. So as you saw through this last round of racks, we're starting to use that fawn survival more and more into how we set permits. And this is how we do that. So this includes the collaring efforts we do on the Cache, South Slope, Monroe, San Juan, Pine Valley, Oker Stansbury, and Wasatch Manti.
MDF can do 30,000.
Now we'll split it with you, Miles. That's all right.
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
Just to confirm, so Troy, you want to add another 16 to what you've already got in there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
All right, what's that leave us with? Does that cover it, or we still need some more there?
No, we split it. That should have covered it.
Yeah,
Okay.
if they split it, they'll cover it. I'll just do the math. And
All right, the next one, Bookcliff's deer elk neonate survival needs $250 to $4.
RMEF will cover it.
Thank you, Ron.
You're the man, Ron.
Good
I know
job.
it's really hard to make that decision, but I did it.
Put a gold star on your monitor. All right, next down the list, East Park Timber Stand Improvement and Stream Restoration. This is one that now we're down into the lower ranked projects that will either need significant support for these projects or for the funding to get pulled, because it does not look like things this low are going to get funded this year. So Ron, you've got $5,000 in here, I'm assuming, unless there's a huge upswell of support for this, that will pull your 5,000.
Go ahead and pull it.
Okay. Next down the list, East Willow BDAs and Guzzlers. This one's tipping the other direction. I think we can get this one funded. This one only needs about 17,500. Anyone from the regions on that would like to speak to this project?
Sure, Tyler. This is Pat Rainbolt in the Northeast Region Habitat Manager. So this is a continuation of our Guzzler project we've done out in the roadless area, the Book Cliffs. It's limited entry for deer, elk. There's a significant bison herd out there. I think we put out 10 tags last year and all 10 tags were harvested. It's a very unique hunt in the state, very remote. It's roadless, obviously, requires horseback travel. So unique opportunity for sportsmen. This project, over the past 5 years, we've put in 10 guzzlers out there. This will give us the last 3 to fill in all the water gaps in the roadless area. So this will tidy up all the guzzlers, and the BDA portion of it is just to try to help that the stream out there in East Willow. It's possible habitat for cutthroat, and it's degraded a little bit over time with the heavy use with the bison out there and some historic grazing issues. So great project, great unit for wildlife. So.
Okay, thanks, Pat. So looking for an additional 17,500 on this.
RMEF would do 7,500 more.
RMF for 7,500 more. Thank you.
MDF can do 10.
MDF for 10 more. Something happened.
Take that out of Expo admin.
Okay, Expo admin it is. That took care of that project then. Looks like it. Okay, next. Central Region Shrub Restoration Project Fiscal Year 21. Anyone from the Central Region want to speak to that?
Yeah, this is Robbie Edgel, Habitat Restoration Biologist out of Central Region. And this is one of our, I would say one of the most important projects in our region for big game, preserving those winter ranges. We're losing a lot of our winter range to development in the Central Region of homes. And what we have left are our wildlife management areas along the benches. And a lot of our these wildlife management areas have lost their shrub component, which is the main food source for deer and elk in the winter. And so this is an important project for us, and we'd love to have it fully funded. Looks like we have 30,000 in there. We can we can do what we can with that, but the scale that we need to work at in order to really make a difference on the landscape, we need to go bigger and plant more shrubs. And we're having great survival, having good success. So I'd love to keep this going for more years to come.
Okay, thank you.
Army F, go 5,000 banquet funds.
Say that one more time, Ron.
5,000 out of banquet funds, RMF.
Okay.
Safari Club will do 3,000 out of tags.
Perfect. Thank you.
How much is left?
34,620.
We'll jump in. Miles, you thinking of more? Or what do you want to do?
Yeah, we did 30, so we could do another 10 or 15, split it.
Let's just split it. Or whatever. I'll tell you what, we'll throw 20 at it. You pick up the balance.
Okay, all right, good.
All right, thanks you guys. So 20 for SFW and MDF will pick up the balance. You want that out of Expo admin again, MDF, or?
Yeah, that'll work, do that.
Okay.
Thank you, guys. Love to bring you out there this next year and show you all the good work that you've done and funded in the past as well. So thanks.
Is this the one that you use volunteers on?
Yes.
Great. So good opportunity for volunteers for any of your chapters.
Yep. Well, thank you.
Okay, next on the list was Manti and LaSalle. I don't see any contributions to that, Allison.
Yeah, I am not sure why I flagged that one.
Let's move down to White Sage Flat then.
Sorry about that.
So White Sage Flat, MDF has 30,000 in. This is a huge project that unfortunately doesn't look like it's going to get the remaining funding. Kendall, if you're on, is there anything you guys can do with minimal funding on this, or?
Yeah, this is Kendall Bagley with Habitat Restoration Biologist, but this is a project that's located on the Pavant Mountain Range, just south of Kanosh. Yeah, there's an opportunity to do some work. This work will specifically, if we need to phase it, we could pick up the work on the CWMU there with Pavant Ensign Ranches. It's a multi-phase project that's the Forest Service has kind of brought together. So the opportunity to do some chaining work this fall, set things up, and try to pick up the additional 3,000 acres of lop and scatter that's on the forest. Pavant Ensign Ranches is bringing almost $220,000 worth of in-kind into the project. So probably looking just for the aerial seeding, the seed, and then we've got a herbicide application in there as well. But it's a heavy use area for mule deer, turkeys, and elk that'll winter in this area. And like I said, we could phase it if we needed to.
So Kendall, what's a minimal amount of money that you need to have a viable phase one?
If we're just talking on the on the BLM, or not the BLM, but if we're just talking on the private, I think I looked at that on the database and it was around 178,000. So we'd need a little bit more to get started on that for sure. Obviously, they're going to do all the in-kind work, and so they're bringing a big match to it. I have talked to Forestry, Fire, and State Lands. There may be some opportunity to bring some money out of Fillmore and move it down there to help the Forest Service get started. They're going to do a lot of the in-kind on the bullhog work. We'd contract the lop and scatter, but.
Okay. Any other interest in this one then, or should we just pull that funding and move on?
I'd like to pull that funding until we have more details on that project. Not that to not fund it at all, but let's see if they can pull some of the other partners in, the other funding sources that Kendall just talked about.
Okay. So we'll pull MDF's 30,000 on that, and we'll move to the next one. Thanks, Kendall. Sorry about that.
Thanks, guys.
Next was Eagle Mountain Wildlife Migration Corridor Preservation. That one looks like we needed an additional 50,300. We got some of that in Habitat Council though yesterday, didn't we, Allison? Or at least it was looking good for Habitat Council.
So that 50,300 is what we have left after the NIFWIF grant and Habitat Council. Habitat Council is 130. The NIFWIF grant is 90,000 and we have to have a 50-50 match for it. So we need the other 50,300.
Okay, so let's have someone from the region go ahead and give a pitch on this one.
Hello,
Go ahead.
you can hear me?
I can hear you.
I was having some mic issues and was worried I wasn't going to be able to talk right when you... Okay. So the Eagle Mountain Wildlife Migration Corridor Preservation Project, we've been working with the city of Eagle Mountain. I just got off the phone. I just joined because I was on the phone with a landscape architect firm that's trying to integrate this into the city's Parks and Rec plan. Using the data that we gathered from the Utah Wildlife Migration Initiative efforts, we started talking to the city about the possibility of accommodating this corridor into the city plan, and it was very well accepted, and they're really happy about this effort and want to make it happen. What our plans are in the corridor are to ensure that there aren't any barriers in the corridor, and that's right now there's mainly just 2 roads, but this may be, since this will be in the city plans, they can take into account other issues such as developments and other roads that may come in. So, but right now, what we want to do is fence one side of the road as on SR 73, which has been identified as the number 10 top vehicle collision hotspot in the state, through a study that was done by UDOT. And so, I think that's because of the snow fence on one side and there's no fence on the other. What we want to do is create an at-grade crossing with another fence on the other side of the road, with the hole with a gap in the fence where they currently cross. So we have a more sure place where the deer will cross, and this will also aid in a UDOT study with this. They're using radar, or is it, I think it's radar still. They have these signs that can detect if there's anything in the right of way or approaching the right of way, and this fence will help with that. And that's the largest portion of the funding that we're asking for, is going towards that fence and the escape ramps that we'd like to put in place as well. Other than that, we want to improve the habitat in the corridor to encourage the deer to continue using it. And we want to put in trees that will provide cover so that they feel safe using it, but also improve some shrubland in the area as well.
Okay, great. Thanks, Shane. Any questions for Shane on that, or any funding consideration for Eagle Mountain Wildlife Migration Corridor Preservation Project?
MDF will do 25,000.
Okay, thanks, Miles. Any other interest in this? I think we'll get this funded no matter what, just because we've got a good grant to match, but any other interest from the groups?
Yeah, I didn't mention, but this will obviously help mule deer. Mostly, we also think it will benefit just all the efforts that are going in. This will benefit pronghorn as well, and all other wildlife in the area.
Okay, last shot. Any other interest? Okay, I think we will get this one funded for sure. let's go ahead and move on. 5363 Book Cliffs East Water Development. Pat, you still on?
Yes, I'm still here. So this project in the Book Cliffs unit, limited entry for mule deer and elk. This project is a product of the mule deer or the Book Cliffs working group. We were tasked from the Wildlife Board to come up with this working group, and some of you listening in today have participated in that and know what that's about. And but the group was formed to come up with some solutions to address the declining health and productivity of mule deer and elk in the Book Cliffs unit. So this is one of those projects that the group came up with. The group involves all the stakeholders in the Book Cliffs, so it was well thought out projects that came out of this working group. So this one is a water development project. It's two different components. The first one is cleaning out 9 existing stock watering ponds and relining those with bentonite clay to improve the holding capacity and the functionality and the lifespan of those ponds. The second component is 9 big game guzzlers. They have the 1,800 gallon boss tanks with the 40 by 20 foot aprons to help collect additional water. So 9 pond cleanouts, 9 new guzzlers to help bring some more water and better distribute that water across the Book Cliffs and address the health and productivity issues for mule deer and elk in that unit. We've already secured funds from BLM Wildlife, SITLA, and Department of Ag on this one, so hoping to finish this one off.
Okay, great. Thanks, Pat. So this one only needs about $5,400.
So 3,000.
I heard RMEF first. Go ahead, Ron.
We'll pick up the balance.
Safari Club will do 3,000 if we could. We got 3,000 left.
Well, we can do that. Get Safari, and I'll take the balance from that.
Okay, you guys want to split the balance?
Well, go ahead and give them 3, and I'll take the rest.
Okay. So 3 to Safari Club, and Ron will take the rest.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, that $26.98 on the rest.
$23.9875.
Ooh, round it up.
Got to be exact. Okay, I think that is the last of the highlighted ones that we had wanted to go over. So next on the agenda is what I like to call the cherry picking phase of the meeting. So I think first what we'll do is go to the sportsman's groups. Is there anything on the list that maybe doesn't have any funding or just needs some more funding that you would like to hear a proposal from the regional teams or have any questions on? So to the sportsman's groups first, is there any cherry picking?
Hey, this is Jeremy with the Mule Deer Foundation. I was wondering if I could hear a little more on the Lost Spring Guzzler. It's 5370. It seemed high dollar wise for what was going on. I just wondered if I could get a little more explanation on that.
This is Curtis Roundy, habitat restoration biologist in the southern region. That guzzler was put into the database by me. The reason why it's higher than what we've seen in the past is the last 3 years we've been putting these guzzlers in for about $30,000. And what's happened is when we've contracted out the excavation work, as well as the price for the cistern tanks that we bury in the ground, the cost has come in higher than what we had in the database. And we have been covering that cost out of our WMA maintenance budget and just going ahead with the amount that we had. But since it had happened 3 or 4 years in a row now on those types of guzzlers, we just went ahead and updated the cost of what it cost to actually put the guzzlers in. eventually some point we're going to need the WMA maintenance to maintain some other things that we're doing, fences and new things that we've put in. And so we just adjusted that cost to be actual cost instead of using that other fund to finish the project.
Let me jump into and just clarify, it's a WMA and guzzler maintenance fund. So we're not using WMA funds for building new guzzlers. It's from the guzzler maintenance portion of that budget.
Okay, thank you. So this one still needs another 26,000. Any other interest in this? Okay. MDF still has 10 grand on there. You still comfortable with that, Miles?
Yeah, but I guess if no other money comes in, that's not going to get done, right?
Well, let's let it ride. We'll still run it through our
Okay.
process and see what we
It
can
was-
do to come up with it.
It was presented to the Habitat Council, so they will most likely pick up the rest.
Okay, let's move on then. Any other projects that you'd like highlighted from the Sportsman's groups?
Can we look at 5324?
5324. You guys are getting good. You're starting talking database numbers like we like you to. 5324 is Northern Region Browse and Water Enhancement. Nate, are you on? Or Scott?
This is Nate. Scott and I were just exchanging text, and this would be the one we'd cherry pick to ask for more funding as well. So we've got 38, it looked like, in there. I don't expect any money from the groups for the water enhancement portion, but we're still about 55 short, I think, if my math is right, for all the seed and scalper maintenance. And we're also doing some stuff on the Richmond WMA's Cherry Peak for turkey as well. I don't know if that was noticed, but we'd take anything we can get on it, and whatever we do end up with, we'll still be running that scalper and doing everything we can with it.
So some of that beautiful scalping work that we've seen them do up north still needs another 55,000 to get that portion of the project going. Any other interests on that or questions for the northern region?
We'll throw some more at it. We'll throw another 20K at it.
So SFW, another 20, bringing theirs to 40,000 total. Got to keep that dozer running. Any other interest in that? That gets us a little closer. Still need about, what, 15, 25 more?
35.
35 more?
Nate, wasn't this ranked your number one thing for mule deer up there in the north? What was the rank?
That's correct. It was ranked number 1 for deer, number 2 for elk, number 2 for turkey, number 6 for moose.
We'll pick up the balance. We'll make it fun.
Troy, we'll put 15 in.
Okay.
To get the rest.
That'll work. Thanks, Miles.
That'll be Expo admin.
So 15 from MDF from Expo admin, and SFW will pick up the remaining, not the remaining balance, but to get us to the needed 55. So that
That's
takes
awesome.
SFW to what? 60?
Yeah, that brings them up to 60.
All right, thank
Okay
you.
with that?
Thanks, guys. And Troy, we need to get you and Matt up on that dozer this year.
I don't know. I've seen you drive that. You kind of scare me with the side sliding stuff.
I'll take him on an easy spot.
I don't know with this COVID, I put on a little weight. I maybe exceed the weight restrictions on that thing.
All right. Any other cherry picking or questions from the groups, sportsman groups?
There'll be an opportunity if we look at these and find some, we can get back with you in the next few days, week or so.
Absolutely, yeah. Just while we've got all the biologists on now, if there's any questions.
Jeremy here at Mule Deer again. 5241, the Heber Wildlife West Fork Restoration. Is there anybody there to talk about that? It looks like it's a pretty large amount. Probably doesn't look like it's going to happen.
Anyone on to speak to that?
Yeah, I can talk to that. So that's a Forest Service project. It's a prescribed burn. It ranked well in WRI. So I think it has a good likelihood of being funded, especially with the money you guys are putting on it already. But I don't know, I guess Tyler and you guys would know more on that side of things.
Yeah, I think we're comfortable enough to let that one ride for now. It was the number 4 ranked project out of the region, has almost 150 WRI score. So it's a big, expensive project, but it's looking pretty good. And the Forest Service has really increased their funding through shared stewardship with this program this year as well.
Would
Any other questions?
For 5175, the Stansbury Mountains.
5175.
Okay, that's one I can talk about as well. That's also a well-ranked project in WRI. It should rank well as long as we have funding for it. So.
And some of these larger ones, if the funding doesn't come through, there's a possibility of breaking them down into smaller phases as well.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions or cherry picking from the groups? And again, if we run through the rest of this process and are not able to fully fund some of these and you have money on them, we'll be contacting you individually to move your funding off and on to other projects.
I have an additional 7,600. Anybody want to beg?
Well, we'll get to the regional begging phase here in a minute. I'm sure there'll be plenty of that. So any last chance on highlighting for the groups? Okay, for the regional, I think we'll go region by region. This will be the portion of the agenda where the regional folks will try to highlight some important project for them. And let's start with the northern region.
This is Nate again. I honestly don't have a project to bring up to you. Thanks for funding the scalping project. All of our high projects, you see our Forest Service projects. I think we've done a really good job working with the forest and getting stuff done. If there's a private lands project that I don't see any funding on that I think is completely appropriate in this group, the burn, the Red Rider up on the cache, just the ability I have when working with these folks to say that this project has been supported financially from our sportsmen's groups. It's important to them. I don't know what else to say except you guys are helping me to get a lot of good work done on the Forest Service by having skin in the game. You don't know how far that goes and how much we appreciate that. And just burnt beaver, way to go, guys. Freaking awesome.
All right.
Thanks, Nate. You know, the one thing though, I'll push back a little bit, Nate, is we're a little bit apprehensive about prescribed burns. It's so iffy whether those come off or not. even though they're great projects, I mean, across the West, I've probably got 15 prescribed burn projects that have been on the books for 5 years. So that's, you know, if there's any apprehensive to fund some of those, it's just the timing and being able to do those in a given year that they're funded.
Absolutely. And one thing we've done, that Hoop Lake burn from a couple years ago that most of this group is aware of, it took 7 or 10 years or something, and we had just one spot to burn, to where now these are set up like Red Rider. There'll be 4 or 5 different entries in terms of burns. So all of them will be monitored, and when one receives the green light, we'll be able to attack it. But absolutely, you're correct that these prescribed burns can be delayed, and we're more than happy to continue working on this. And if someone has an answer of a different method we could do in the high country to do aspen regeneration on a large scale and other things, man, I'd love to be part in any of that. So.
And I'll just add to that, Miles, some of the things that this is obviously a big concern for us as well. Some of the things that we've worked on with the Forest Service especially is allowing them to come with proposals that include maybe 2, 3, 4 different areas. And then what we've told them is, if you can get one of those 4 areas to come into prescription, go ahead and light it. And if you can get 2 of them, go ahead and light it. If you can get 3 of them, go ahead, and we'll just push funding that way, trying to be flexible, trying to get them a little bit more opportunity to light those fires. Number 2, for those of you who follow the legislature, Representative Snyder had a bill this year that actually loosened some of the clearing index rules and may allow us to pull the trigger on some of these burns a lot more quickly than we have been in the past. Thirdly, we've been successful with the legislature in increasing our carryover authority, so that'll allow us to kind of push these through from year to year to year. But I will say this, as the Forest Service has woken up in the last few years, you're seeing an enormous amount of projects from them. We're going to see a lot more of these prescribed burns coming our way. But we hear you on your concerns, Miles, and we're still continuing to work towards making things easier to deal with financially. Okay, with that, Northeastern region. Pat.
Hey, Tyler. Just want to say thanks to the group, first of all, for funding our projects over the years and for the partnerships. If we could look at 5330 real quick, Allison, please. Marshall Draw, water developments. And see where we're at on that one. So this, just a little bit about this project. It's on the Diamond Mountain unit, great limited entry unit in the Northeast region for mule deer and elk. Some of the funding from this actually comes from the Diamond Mountain Landowner Group and their association. They get so many tags every year, and they auction a couple of those off, and they're contributing. And they do contribute every year a portion of that funds to go back into habitat projects. And this is one of their projects for this year that I've worked with them on proposing. So this is a cool project. It's on one of our WMAs. There's no domestic livestock in this part of Diamond Mountain, no grazing there. It's open to the sportsman and for the public. It's just a great opportunity for sportsmen to get up there. And if you're familiar with that unit, it's kind of tough. There's a lot of private land in holdings in that area. So this is a good project that just want to highlight if anyone's interested for developing some water there and helping pull those animals. It's right on the Colorado border, so we're stealing some of their animals there too. So for our sportsmen. So just want to take a quick second look at that one.
Okay, any questions for Pat or any interest in that one?
We may want to put some in that, but let us talk about that a little bit.
Same here. So, we'd like to be a part of that conversation. So
Only 21,000, just say split it, Miles, come on.
So it needs 21,000.
You want to split it, Mike?
Yeah, if Norm's all in, we're in. So I can hear him in the background there. Ours would be Expo admin.
Okay, splitting it between SFW and Mule Deer Foundation with Expo admin from Mule Deer.
Thank you guys, appreciate that.
Any others, Pat?
I think Tori Mathis is still on the line. Tori, do you want to highlight any projects?
No, I looked through the spreadsheet and it looks like you guys contributed to almost all of the projects that we've got. Thank you so much for doing that. I think we're covered.
Great. Southeastern region.
Yeah, I'd like to highlight 5185. And I just want to say you guys have treated our region really well, so thank you. It looks like almost everything's had funding put on it, and I just kind of wanted to highlight the Manti LaSalle North Zone Prescribed Fire Project. In our region, it was ranked #1 by our biologists for elk and #3 for deer. As a region, we're really interested in this project. They have got parts of this project to go off in the past. This was part of the Trail Mountain Prescribed Fire. And so, yeah, and they've done kind of what Tyler was describing, where they have different areas, different ecotypes that they can burn. So some of it's ponderosa understory burning, whereas other parts of it is aspen regeneration burning. So it's a really great project, and we're really excited as a region to see the Forest Service bring this one.
Okay, this one needs 132,500. It's a medium range project, so we'll need to get it pretty close to that number to push it forward. Any questions or any commitments on Manti LaSalle North Zone Prescribed Fire? Okay. Hearing none. Nicole, you got anything else?
That's it. I mean, thank you guys. You guys have treated the Southeastern region really well, and we really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Nicole. Southern region.
I've been texting back and forth with all the bios, and we're coming up the same as most of the regions. We really appreciate all the support. This process has worked really well. We don't necessarily want to highlight for additional funding, but just wanted to specifically thank you guys for looking at the ones on the Boulder Mountain. You're probably aware we're working really hard to get the Forest Service more involved over there, and we had that Government Creek one that you guys supported really well, and we're really thankful that you're helping us there. It'll help us as we continue to push forward, helping the Forest Service want to be more involved with WRI in that area of the world. And as we continue with those discussions with the Forest Service and other entities there, we want to involve you guys and invite you to some meetings as we try to plan to burn that whole mountain down without burning it down in a bad way. So that's all we've got.
All right. Thank you very much. Central region.
I think I'll speak to that, Tyler. This is Mark, Farmer Habitat Manager. Thanks for all the funding you guys have given us this year. Been great. I'd like to look at 5045 on the top of the list, those 3 water projects at the top of the list. And there's not much left on them. 2,000 left on Lake Fork. Lake Fork water system repair is a pretty important project, and it's to repair all those systems damaged by the Pole Creek fire. And just a little bit left on that one. And then the Circle Springs Guzzler and the Crab Creek Guzzlers, not a whole lot of money left on those. If you guys want to throw a little extra cash that way, that'd be really appreciated. These projects are really good PR with our livestock folks, and they really appreciate it. We've been able to do several of these the last couple of years, and it's really well received by our partners. So that's, for me, if we could finish off a couple of those, that'd be great.
All right, let's take them one by one then. First is Lake Fork, needs an additional 2,000. Any interest in that?
RMEF will do it.
RMEF has 2,000 on it already. You want to bring it up to 4 then, Ron?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Next one, 9,500 needed on Circle Springs guzzler replacement.
Talk to me on that one a little bit. What is it?
That's an old Forest Service guzzler that's no longer functioning. It's kind of south of Wellsburg up on a ridge top. We're going to replace that with the new Mustang guzzler and apron, and we have to fly it in because it's remote. It's just something that's there that the Forest Service has had that we can update without too much trouble. Lots of deer and elk in that area. So that's something they brought to us. I didn't even know about it, but it's a good spot. About just fell for it.
You want to split that, Troy?
Yeah, we'll do that. You bet.
Okay. Mine will be out of Expo admin.
Okay, MDF and SFW splitting it with MDFs out of Expo admin. Thank you. $1,500 needed for Crab Creek guzzlers. You want to tell us specifically about that one, Mark?
So that's the one we're putting 3 guzzlers along as close to the forest boundaries we can on the east side of Mount Nebo. CWMU owner that brought this to us said, I'd like to put some guzzlers up there and on his property because we can't, we've got stuff on our property to the north on Loafer Mountain. This kind of a void, and it'll keep animals closer to the forest boundary and keep them from traveling east down into private land and Highway 89. We can drive to all 3 of these sites. So we're going to pay for 2 guzzlers, Mustang guzzlers, and the landowner's going to pay for 1. And we'll be able to install these with volunteers. It's a pretty good project, fairly cheap. And I think it'll be good for the animals in that area, keep them from traveling so far to get water and keep them out of trouble, hopefully.
Okay, any interest?
RMEF will cover the balance.
RMEF will cover the balance. That takes them from 2,000 to 3,500. Thanks, Ron.
Thanks, guys.
Hey.
If anybody wants to put their name or a sign or something on some of this stuff for advertisement purposes on these guzzlers, just give it to me and I'll make it happen. And definitely invite any of your members out to help in construction of some of these projects. Just let me know.
Great. So anything else from the central region then? Robbie, you got anything?
Unless anyone wants to put more money on that Eagle Mountain corridor project. Other than that, just really grateful for all your support and love to get more of you guys out throughout the year as we're planning projects. So you can, if there's things you want to see done, we'd love to accommodate that and work with you to create some projects that you'd like to see done for wildlife. Then I have a beaver restoration project. I saw there was some, maybe if there's anyone else that wants to put more money on that one too. I guess, well, I guess, does anyone want to do the Eagle Mountain corridor? More money on that one
We've
first?
already gone over that one. I think we'll figure out a way internally to fund the Eagle Mountain corridor project.
Okay. So then the beaver restoration, Central Region beaver restoration project. Number 5162. So in our region, other regions have already been doing beaver restoration for quite a while, and our region is really starting to get more involved in that this year. And we're asking for money to build some quarantine facilities to make sure the beavers are clean before we move them to their new locations. And then money to help seasonal time to trap and transport beavers, and some contractors to trap beavers. And this is really exciting to me. I think we really underestimated the value that beavers have on the landscape for wildlife, and especially for big game. and upland game. And I think it's a great opportunity for you guys to be a partner on it and get some good media. And I think it's an awesome project. So really cheap, only asking for 25,000. Looks like we already got 10, just need 15 more. So.
Okay, any additional interest in that project? Again, I think that one's high enough ranked in WRI that it'll get picked up regardless.
Did Habitat Council put any in that? That seems like more of a project for them than, or something than us.
Yeah, if Habitat Council doesn't fund the whole thing, WRI will. Those are good projects. In fact, they're some of my favorite projects. I'd love to see one of these in every region.
Robert, this is Lynn. Did you guys talk about some of the concerns we had about that project? Have you talked to anybody about that since we've talked?
Yeah, so we'll, like we said, we'll pull that one site until we work with you on that in Salt Creek, and so we'll just focus on the other areas until we work through those issues there. So.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, thank you guys. Really appreciate it, and again, love to get out with you this summer if we can, and plan some good projects for next year.
All right, thanks, Robbie. Okay, we'll do one last call from any of the regions or any of the sportsmen's groups. Anything else you'd like to have highlighted while we've all got everybody on the line?
Hey, Tyler, this is Gary. Just reviewing the list, I should have found this one earlier, but we've got one we need to give some money back on probably. 4868 East Slope Indian Peak is another one that's in that Hamlin Valley NEPA.
Oh, good call.
Just doesn't include Hamlin Valley in the name, so we probably just missed it because of that.
Okay, so that one had 5,000 from SCI, 15,000 from SFW that we'll be giving back.
Okay, then where do we need my 5,000 from Safari Club?
How about
we could use it on the Burville project.
What number is that, Kendall?
5232.
That sounds good. Go ahead and move that for Safari Club.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Any other changes or questions or cherry picking?
This is Nate in the northern region. We have the Little Pigeon Mountain guzzler replacement. It's 5364. But this central region and ourselves have a agreement with the BLM where they provide some money to us. And since Mark got all of his water projects funded, we could probably just have his share of that to complete our project, I'd imagine.
Say what?
He's trying to steal your money from you.
I think the northern region has more water than the central region.
Hey, Nate, tell me a little bit about this.
So it's out west, just a little bit east of the pilots and a ways south of Lucin, if you're familiar with the area. It's a guzzler that was installed many years ago where it's got the apron and underground tank, a little drinker and a toilet float in the drinker. It's all defunct now. There's pictures in the database if anyone cares to look at them. And this is just us replacing that guzzler with one of the modern Boss tanks and providing a water source mainly to antelope out there. But it is an area that does hold antelope. So we do have some money coming from the BLM that we can use for this, but anyone that sold an antelope tag and wanted to throw a little bit in towards it, that'd be great.
Seven.
Any benefit to upland game chuckers on that particular one, or?
Yeah, there's chuckers in there, and that's an area we have released chuckers in the past. I don't think we'd have to talk with wildlife and get chuckers there again, since there hasn't been a water source. I don't think we've put birds there in several years.
Yeah, we'll take care of it. We'll do it.
All right, thanks, Troy. So 7750 to SFW.
Thanks, Troy.
Okay, last chance. Speak now or forever hold your peace.
RMEF will put 4,100 into 5232 Burville.
I want to go.
So 5232
For
Thanks,
40.
Ron.
Burville. Get that, Allison and Daniel?
Tell me the amount again, Ron.
4,100.
Thanks, Ron. Appreciate that.
Yep.
Okay.
On that.
Tyler, what about the petrified down the Ponsegant? That
Yeah, I saw that one too.
5173.
Gary, do you want to talk to that one?
Yeah, that's a project that the BLM put together down there, looking at some old catchments and just trying to make some improvements there. Curtis, did you have that one more reviewed? It's not fresh in my mind, but
Yeah, so that's the one that we had deer getting inside a giant tank last year and couldn't get out and drowning inside of it. And that project is to put a lid on that tank and then to run pipeline in a couple of different troughs and provide water access to 2 different locations out on the winter range for the Ponscomp mule deer herd.
We can give some to that, so.
Let's split it with you, Miles.
Okay.
That sounds like a good PR value one with some good visuals from last year with those deer dying in there.
there are actually
Miles?
some pretty bad visuals.
Good for PR value.
Yeah, Allison, take mine out of Expo admin.
Okay, thanks.
Hey, Kendall, there's like on Annabella and a few of those. Can you go back through some of the stuff you're short on? Just
Yeah, Troy, on Annabella WMA, so what we're looking to do is another phase to reduce some of that rabbit brush and some of that cover. It's where we hold the SFW Kids Day shoot. And so this will be our second phase. We just need to pick up some of that rabbit brush, and we've done some seeding on there this year. So we're hopeful it'll come up, but just kind of try to maintain a little bit of that and reduce some of that taller cover. We're going to pull out some old existing fences that have been in there for a long time. They're just more of a kind of a safety issue with those kids and with our sportsmen that go through that country. So looking to rent a little mini X and either work with dedicated hunters or local volunteers or myself to try to pull that out. So that's kind of what that Annabella WMA is, the phase 3 project.
And it needs just over 16,000.
Yeah.
we'll cover that.
All right, excellent.
Thanks, Troy. I appreciate it.
I think that Travis is having a hard time making any comments. Travis, are you able to say anything?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Okay, now I can see now. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I've had a couple of comments, but I was just having a hard time getting unmuted. I don't think I have anything at this point that hasn't been picked up by other groups, so I'm good at this point.
Okay. Thanks, Travis.
Kendall, can you talk to me a little bit more about that Burrville?
Yeah, Troy, that's a great project for us. It's a lot of collaboration between the forest, the BLM, state trust lands, private, forestry, fire, and state lands. That was our number 3 ranked project in the region. Number 1 for deer, number 4 for elk, and number 6 for turkey. A lot of bull hog work going to be done on the private BLM and some of the sitla ground, and then some lop and scatter work as well. Kind of sits right there between the town of Burrville and on the Monroe side, the east side of the Monroe. And they're going to do some chaining on the forest as well. There's a big boundary fence we're going to install between the BLM and the forest. So kind of north of that Wood Hollow and Blue Peak area that's been worked on in the past by Craig Rasmussen. So kind of ties everything in together. There's just a kind of a void there between south of Mormon Peak and north of Casherm, town of Casherm. So it's a good project. Winter, a lot of deer, a lot of elk, got some turkeys in that drainage as well. So great project.
All right, thanks, Kendall. What you thinking, Troy?
I may get with him after. I want to talk with him on some stuff. So, but yeah, I just want a little bit more information on that. So.
Okay. Anyone else? All right. Well, thanks again, everyone. I think, where'd we end up, Allison? $3.16 million. That is a very pleasant surprise. Honestly, a lot of us were a little worried with this format that we weren't going to get up into the same level as we had last year. I think last year we ended just over $3 million. So thanks a lot, everybody. I appreciate your time and your efforts to work with us this year and what's been a little bit of a tough time for all of us. I just want to let you know that as a division, as a department, and as an initiative, we are committed to moving forward with these projects as soon as possible. Given the restrictions, there's a lot of things that are going on right now that is stopping us from working. But we're hoping by the time the fall runs around or comes around, we'll be back to working at full strength. Personally, I want to invite everybody. Each year, WRI holds 5 different regional team field tours. You're all welcome to come and join us on those field tours if you're interested. You can check our website at watershed.utah.gov and check the events page on there. And feel free to come join us in those tours this year. Anything else that anybody wants to add, or any other questions before we end the meeting?
Tyler, I just had one thing. In some of the states we're working in, they've classified these projects as essential projects, so we're able to move forward. Is there anything like that here? I haven't seen that in the governor's order.
No, we have been able to move forward. The BLM has called their fuels work essential. So unless there's some kind of wildlife clearance that needs to take place, those projects are moving forward. What we're doing is we're being really understanding with our contractors, especially those contractors that have migrant labor as part of their operation. So that may be delaying us. And we've also had a few positive COVID tests within our community or our contractor community that slowed them down, but no one's told us to stop. We're just kind of being a little slow and letting contractors move forward as they feel comfortable doing so. Okay. Well, thanks everybody. And if you got any change, go ahead.
Hey, I just want to, on the spreadsheet, this is Daniel. At the very top there under some of the green columns, those are funds, remaining funds that you guys have already sent to us. I just noticed that there's a few that have some remaining dollars there. SFW, I think you're probably the biggest one that had the most money there. Those are dollars that can be allocated to projects. So just wanted to point that out.
And I don't know, maybe Troy has already taken this into account, but I was just going to go through and adjust the amounts. So if you had money in SFW remaining, I would just kind of move some of those over. But I don't know if that affects, Troy, how much money you were planning on contributing today. But looks like that's, I guess it's mostly his expo.
No, Alex,
But-
we're going to get with you and kind of do exactly that, massage it and get it taken care of. So
Yeah, and we need to talk about some of the other waterfowl projects too. So
Betcha.
we'll get with you separately and talk
always
about that.
wanted to talk duck.
All right.
And some duck money. Okay, well, any other changes that need to happen, just let Allison or Daniel or I know. Hopefully by the end of the week or so, and we'll start to get these out to you guys for signatures and start moving forward. Thank you everyone for joining us, and we'll talk to you soon.